Opeth! Heritage! Oh, you've done an intro like this already.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for an album review. Out of all the requests that I get all the time, this review has kind of become a highly anticipated review. Opeth's Heritage. Now, these guys are a Swedish rock band known mostly for their interpretations of progressive metal and progressive death metal. But I've never, ever been an Opeth fan. Never. Their melodic and to me, kind of overproduced take on death metal just has never ever done anything for me. I know that's gonna piss some people off because Opeth has kind of become, over the years, through a consistent style and a lot of releases, become this metal sacred cow. But on this new LP, Heritage, Opeth throws away all death metal and even just metal in general sounds for this record and just makes a really complete and honest embrace of progressive rock. Now, it's not like that's anything new for these guys. They've done that once before on 2003's Damnation, and some of the quieter moments on this new LP actually reminds me of 2002's Deliverance a little bit. Or at least that's what I think. Even though Opeth has played in this area before, this album's getting a lot of mixed reviews, and I'm not completely sure why. I'm not a huge fan of this LP either. I don't think it's going to be for the same reasons that Opeth fans are. The band's frontman, whose name Cal Truchesta is going to pronounce, Mikhail Akerfelidity, has put his death growls away for this album. But I don't see how that would ruin it. I mean, I don't think it's just simply his growls that were bringing Opeth fans to the table. To me, Opeth on this album, they're embracing an older shade of progressive rock. To me, this album is like totally King Crimson. It's totally Jethro Tull. It's even a little Mahavishnu at points, especially in the drums. These drums on this record are fantastic. They're just these jazz fusion drums with these, hard-hitting rolls and fills, but you've got these jazzy ride cymbals and great grooves flowing underneath a lot of these tracks. I like the texture of the guitars on this thing too. They've got a nice edge to them, but they don't come off like just distorted and blaring like your average metal guitar. I mean, it even sounds like a kind of close friend of the band, Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree, had a bit of an influence on this record, since there are moments on here that remind me of songs off Steve Wilson's new solo album. And I like how tight Opeth is sounding on this album too, especially the second single that these guys dropped this year, The Devil's Orchard. The syncopated drums, guitars, and organ on that track are great. They just sound so badass, and the way that organ just colors the background with this just sinister sound is nice. The band shows a lot of dynamics and a lot of interplay as they transition from these louder moments to these softer moments. It just happens so gracefully to me. It's not like there's a hard in or a hard out or it's really obvious. It's like I don't know where the band is going or what they're going to do until they finally get there. Especially tracks like I Feel the Dark, which start off with vocals, acoustic guitar, but then they subtly grow into bass, drums, keys in the background. And then when this main booming guitar riff just punches in, it's like this nice shot of progressive rock adrenaline. I think a lot of the tracks on here have interesting song structures. It's just not your average verse, chorus, verse. But like I said, I'm not really a fan of this album. And it has a lot to do with just one single thing. Have you ever had an entire album ruined for you because you're not into one single thing on the album, just one sound that they keep using, or one instrument, or just one way they mix the drums or something? I've never been into Opeth's vocals, sadly. I just have not. The growls have been pretty good in the past, but the cleans just do nothing for me. And this album is nothing but cleans. The vocals have a good range, they're on pitch. I can't take that away from them, that's fine. That's fine, but it's just whatever technical term you want to slap on it. The timbre of the vocals, the cadence, the inflection, just the sound of them, they just sound like your average modern hard rock vocals to me. It sounds like this is a voice I would hear if I went out to the local bar to hear the best cover band in town. That's not really the issue. I mean, there's a larger problem for me, and that's that to me the vocals just don't feel urgent to me. They don't feel emotional to me. They just don't grab me. They don't captivate me. They don't pull me in. Let's take one of the first big thematic lyrics from this album. It comes off The Devil's Orchard. God is dead. God is dead. It's repeated a bunch of times. God is dead. One of the most revered figures in history is dead. Shouldn't I feel something or think something when I hear this being said? This line sounds like it's being sung in a local musical theater production. The vocals just hit the right notes. That's all I can say they do. They just don't convey any emotional highs or lows to me. They never feel really depressing or really soft or, really dark. And they never feel really intense. They never feel really in my face or thrilling. I know I like the way the band is playing on this LP. I know I like the style that they're embracing, but to me, the vocals are just such a central part of this album. I know a lot of Opeth fans may have already decided how they feel on this album, and that's fine. But if you've never been an Opeth fan, I would at least try this thing out, because they are trying something different on this LP. If you've been turned off by albums like Blackwater Park or something like that in the past, then this is definitely worth trying, because it is a different flavor, different direction. I'm feeling a light to decent 5 on this one. It was alright. I'm on the fence with it. Just not really loving it, not really hating it. But what do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Why? And what do you think I should review next? Anthony Fantano, Opeth. This is just my opinion. Forever.